Thank you, sir. Again, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. May I just add one other thing? I think the reoccurring theme that you're going to hear from many of my colleagues, and I would imagine many of the panelists that participate in this hearing, is that we're still a very young organization, right? And that even though we were codified in October of 2011, we didn't actually receive a line item in the budget till 2012 in July, and we didn't actually have a good amount of staff till the first quarter of 2013. That's why you hear that we can always do better, and we're continuing to do better, and we continue to evolve, and that's why it's very important that we participate in so many of these workshops that you put on in your communities to really help us get out the word, because we do need your help.
Thank you.
Thank
again.
you.
Thank you very much. We're going to move on to agenda item 4, that's trade and foreign investment. The agenda item will begin with a short presentation on foreign trade and investment related to programs, services, and initiatives, followed by discussion between the members of JETI Committee, GoBiz, and its stakeholders. I'm going to ask that we try to keep this panel discussion to no more than 25 minutes, so we're going to kind of cut a little bit of the time that we had originally allocated for this. So we'll go with well, we'll jump right in. I know that I believe Andrew is going to be our first speaker. Andrew is the Deputy Director of Legislative and Intergovernmental Affairs. Mr. Stroffels has been kind enough to step in for Brian Peck, GoBiz Deputy Director for International Affairs and Business Development, who's unable to join us today. So welcome, and please feel free to proceed.
Good morning again, Chair Garcia, members of the committee. Again, my name is Andrew Sternfels, Deputy Director of Legislative and Intergovernmental Affairs at GoBiz. As the Chair mentioned, I am stepping in today and pinch hitting for Brian Peck, who's our Deputy Director of International Trade and Investment, who's currently in India as part of a U.S. State Trade Department trade delegation focusing on renewable energy and clean technology. Brian and I worked together prior to his departure on preparing my remarks today, and our team will do our best to answer any questions that you may have in his absence. I recognize, Chair, that we're running very tight on time for this hearing, and so I'm probably going to breeze through several of my remarks and hope that we can answer any outstanding questions in the Q&A portion of the panel.
Thank you.
For the remarks today, I do want to cover a few areas. I do want to touch on our statutory priorities of the International Trade and Investment Unit, and then quickly just highlight a few of the programs that our International Trade and Investment Unit operates. So under statute, GoBiz, through its international unit, is responsible for developing and implementing an international trade and investment program that does the following. First, attracts employment-producing direct foreign investment to the state. Second, provides support and assistance to California businesses in accessing international markets in order to increase California exports. And third, engage in other intergovernmental trade or foreign investment activities as assigned by the governor. To fulfill these statutory responsibilities, the International Unit developed a comprehensive, coordinated, and cohesive 5-year trade and investment strategy plan for 2014 to 2019, which was submitted to the legislature in 2014. It provides a clear vision and framework to expand trade and investment through collaboration with other relevant state agencies and input from private and public sector stakeholders. We are continuing to make significant progress in achieving scheduled metrics to expand trade investment in accordance with this plan, including increasing our domestic and foreign outreach, participating in trade missions and foreign direct investment events, and facilitating assistance to California companies and foreign investors through local, state, federal, and international resources and partners. I want to touch on a few programs very briefly, the first of which is the STEP program, or State Trade and Export Promotion Program. STEP is a federally funded program that provides grants to small businesses to promote exports through participation in trade shows, trade missions, and other state promotion activities to expand our exports. STEP funds can be used by small business for a variety of purposes. The network of STEP partners implements a range of export promotions programs, such as participation in major international trade exhibitions. Along with GoBiz and CITD, or the Centers for International Trade Development, this year's STEP partners are the California Department of Food and Agriculture, several individual CITDs at the community college district level, the Los Angeles Area Chamber of Commerce, and the Los Angeles Business Federation, or LA BizFed. In applying for STEP funds for the 2016 fiscal year, GoBiz, in partnership with the California Community College's Chancellor's Office, CITD, obtained a $747,000 grant for the state. During the first quarter of the current STEP program, which ran from October 1st through December 31st of 2015, 14 companies received STEP grants to participate in 2 separate trade shows that took place in Hong Kong. The companies reported a total of $1.4 million in exports resulting from their participation, and we expect to see increased numbers when the next quarterly report comes out in April. In addition, GoBiz and CITD are applying for STEP funds for the next fiscal year beginning in October 1st, 2016. The international unit also plays a leadership role in California trade missions. GoBiz was responsible for organizing and managing the business track for the governor's missions to China in 2013 and Mexico in 2014. In addition, GoBiz has supported and participated in a private sector-led trade mission to China, first with the Cali-Asian Chamber in 2014, which focused on small and medium-sized businesses in food, product, and professional service sectors, and also with the California Energy Commission to China last August of 2015 to promote business opportunities for California clean tech, renewable energy, and zero-emission vehicle opportunities. Many of the relationships built as a result of the trade missions and hosted delegations are formalized through MOUs with other countries. California has several MOUs specific to expanding trade and investment with China's Ministry of Commerce and with 7 provinces within China, as well as with Mexico. The international unit also provides assistance in response to inquiries it receives from both California companies seeking to export and foreign companies interested in establishing or expanding their businesses in California. The majority of companies which submit inquiries and receive assistance are small and medium-sized businesses. And finally, very briefly, I wanted to touch on the EB-5 visa program as well as our China Trade Office because I know those are areas of interest of the committee. The EB-5 visa program is administered by the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. An immigrant investor can apply for a visa if they make a specified investment in a commercial enterprise in the United States and plan to create or preserve 10 permanent full-time jobs for qualified U.S. workers. I want to make sure that we point out that this program is governed by federal laws and regulation. It is not a state program. There's actually no state involvement at all needed if the investment in the new commercial enterprise meets or exceeds a $1 million investment level. Investments may be made in any location in the U.S. and without respect to high unemployment or high poverty in any area. However, if the investment in the new commercial enterprise is made at a $500,000 or $500,000 investment level, state involvement may be necessary in designating the area of the enterprise as a targeted employment area or TEA. The state's role is limited in designating and certifying TEAs that meet the statutory thresholds for unemployment rates, which are calculated every year. The international unit automated the EB-5 TEA certification process, which has resulted in significant improvements in efficiency and reduced turnaround time for applications for designating a TEA from 10 to 14 days to 2 to 5 days. In the last 3 years, we've also seen a significant increase in the number of TEAs we've issued, starting in 2013 at 388, as 2014, 688, and 2015, 829. I should also mention that just because GoBiz issues a TEA certification, that does not mean that the project is approved by U.S. Immigration Service, that the visa is ever even issued, or that the project moves forward. Finally, I'd like to shift to the California China Trade Office. In 2013, GoBiz partnered with the Bay Area Council, a nonprofit entity, to open, operate, and manage the California China Trade Office in Shanghai. The primary mission of the California China Trade Office is to facilitate trade and investment opportunities between California and China. In fulfilling this mission, the office engages with California companies seeking to enter into or expand in the Chinese market, as well as with Chinese entities looking to seek investment in California. The office has had direct engagement with 69 entities between January 2014 and October 2015, and a summary of these engagements can be found in the annual report which we provided the committee. In addition, during 2015, the California China Trade Office has assisted and supported 10 visiting trade delegations from China, participated in the U.S. Department of Commerce's Select USA Investment Promotion Roadshow in China, which took place in several locations across the country, and participated in 9 trade promotion events in both China and California, including events in Shanghai, Orange County, San Francisco, and Davis. The office has been effective in making inroads to attracting Chinese investment into California and promoting California businesses in major metropolitan areas of China, such as Shanghai and Beijing. However, the model in which the office is operating is new. Along the way, we've learned a few things, and we're making some changes to improve upon. As you know, this was a new approach in operating a state trade office, and through this experience, we will be continuously evolving in accordance with our experiences, specifically to China. Given the sheer geographical size of China, as well as the increasing number of cities and regions that have become business centers throughout the country, GoBiz and the Bay Area Council recognize the need to expand the trade office's footprint to reach more businesses in China and to help promote California businesses throughout China. Many other cities, counties, municipalities, and business groups throughout California have trade offices in China. Our intention moving forward is to better leverage those resources and unite the trade offices under a single State of California banner. In order to expand the reach of the state's trade investment efforts in China, as well as broaden the trade office's representational base in California, GoBiz is expanding the California-China Trade Office public-private partnership. This expansion, which will be known as the GoBiz California-China Trade Network, will consist of additional private, nonprofit network partners, cities, counties, and municipalities in China and California. Under this expanded model, the California-China Trade Office will be able to increase its presence in China to other cities and provide a broader representation of regions in California. GoBiz is currently finalizing negotiations with several candidates and plans to implement this model later this spring. I want to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to take time to speak with you. I hope I made the remarks as brief as I could, and we'll do our best to answer any questions you have.
Thank you very much. We've asked our stakeholders to briefly introduce themselves, as well as add to perhaps the relationship that they have with the international foreign investment programs that exist under the umbrella of GoBiz. And so our first stakeholder, Ms. Suzanne Sterling, Vice President of International Affairs for the California Chamber of Commerce. Welcome.
Thank you very much, and good morning. I am with the California Chamber of Commerce, Vice President of International Affairs, and it's my pleasure to be here today to talk about our very positive partnership that we have together with GoBiz, specifically in the area of international trade and investment. In my position over the years, I have seen the open and the close of 12 California state offices, the open and the close of the California Department of Trade, and the realignment of the Business, Transportation, and Housing Agency. So I'm going to start by saying that I'm just happy that there is a GoBiz, because it is so important that the state of California have a point of contact and a frontline face for our trading and investment partners abroad. Americans tend to take protocol and symbolism at probably a lower level, probably don't value it enough, and it is so important in the eyes of our foreign trading and investment partners. So it's critical that we simply have a GoBiz. Going beyond that, I can say that our organization, the California Chamber of Commerce, is in sync with GoBiz in our support of trade and investment. We understand that exports and investment equals jobs, which is important for our state. GoBiz has really done a fabulous job in being that center point in bringing together, I think, not only the private sector organizations that are around this table but in this room, but also working with state agencies and with the federal government, the U.S. Department of Commerce, Small Business Administration, and the XM Bank in particular. One of the successful programs, which I know was mentioned here just briefly this morning, was the STEP program, the Trade and Export Promotion Program, where the Small Business Administration provides matching funds to businesses here in California. I actually have been involved in the panel and the allocation of those funds, and I just wanted to comment that GoBiz has very meticulously taken those funds, which is it's a nice amount, but it's a small amount. They've taken those funds and very carefully allocated those so that I think the right mix of geographical industries, markets are targeted in that program. So I really would attest to the fact that that's a successful program for the state of California. On the trade missions which you heard about, which certainly the Bay Area Council has been involved in China, the California Chamber of Commerce in Mexico, and the many other trade and investment missions and inbound delegations that have taken place over the years, GoBiz has gone through and developed, I think, a very successful system of memorandums of understanding. And there again, those can be signed with a flourish and sent off and never paid attention to again, or they can be, which I think GoBiz has done a really good job of, is nurturing those MOUs and on an ongoing basis bringing in both foreign trade investment partners as well as the domestic counterparts here in California to keep that relationship going, and I think that's very important. On the foreign direct investment side, they have expertise, they have good publications. We send inquiries over to them on a regular basis, and I know we're short on time. I would just conclude in saying that international trade is an important part of our economy, not something that can be taken for granted. We need to remember that other states have extensive international trade support operations as well as other countries, and that we need to just keep doing and more. So I would thank GoBiz for all that they do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I know that this is an extremely important topic of discussion for not just state commerce, but I know for a few of our members here in specific who have raised some questions and interests on this topic. So thank you. We will go on to the next panelist. That's Julian Canete, Director of Public Policy for the Cal-Asian Chamber of Commerce. Welcome.
Good morning, members. Julian Canetti, Policy Director for the Cal-Asian Chamber, on behalf of our Director of International Trade, who is actually busy working on some other opportunities in Korea specific that are due today. But in regards to our working relationship with GoBiz, I would have to say that our whole strategy, our global initiative strategies, has centered around a cooperative and supportive relationship that we've had with GoBiz. So GoBiz has been a very big part of our team's development of that strategic plan, especially in the Pacific Rim. We have been specifically concentrating in China, and as was mentioned, is that GoBiz worked with us and participated in our last China trip, as well as now Korea, Japan, along the way also this year actually, to the Philippines in July, and then to Vietnam hopefully in 2017. Again, all these trade missions have been also coordinated efforts where we've brought GoBiz into the fold, or they have been very supportive and cooperative of working with us in making sure that they are successes and that we are driving the right people on these trade missions. Mentioned the STEP program. Each of these trade missions have worked diligently to take advantage of the STEP program so we can really get some of the small, mid-sized businesses who want to go into that global competitive market to participate. Again, that's been an excellent working relationship that we've had with them as well. As we move forward, we currently have what we call our China Direct program, which is a correct me if I'm wrong, Brooks, it's called MDCP, Market Development Cooperative Program, that we have with Department of Trade, the U.S. Department, where we are promoting and working to increase exports, specifically agricultural products, over to China. We are in the process now, today, as a matter of fact, filing our one for Korea, again, which will open up some additional opportunities for our small and medium-sized businesses on a global and Pacific Rim basis. We're also looking at, again, all these trade missions as we move forward, working with GoBiz and getting their input and their support as they move along the route for fruition. I will say this, that GoBiz has also worked closely with us when we've had inbound missions come in. We've had several of them. We've had one from Japan that came in last summer. Again, the GoBiz team took the time to meet with that delegation from the Prime Minister's office to discuss, trade opportunities and what GoBiz does here for our small businesses as well. And most recently, when we hosted the economic minister from Japan as well recently. So again, we continue to look forward to an ongoing working relationship with GoBiz from an international perspective as well as a small business development perspective as we've had in the past.
Thank you very much. We'll go straight to Mr. John Grubb. He is the manager for the Bay Area Council, and then we'll be followed by Mr. Olson. So,
thank you, Chair Garcia, and Vice Chair Kim, and members as well. My name is John Grubb, the Chief Operating Officer of the Bay Area Council. I'm joined here today by my colleagues Cornelius Burke and our new intern, Michael McHenry. The Bay Area Council represents about 275 of the largest employers in the San Francisco, Silicon Valley, Oakland Bay Area. We have a particular interest in China as well, and so we have worked in a contract with GoBiz and with the governor's office to operate a trade office in China. It's based, as well as here in California, it's based in Shanghai, but it operates throughout the country of China. Over the past 3 years, we've worked with 69 companies. Of those 69 companies, as we measure it, 33 of them have had their opportunity achieved. They've been small, medium, or large businesses. They've been Chinese coming here and California companies going there. We can discuss specific examples if you'd like. A couple that I would bring up is that we were helpful with Tesla when they were trying to access the Chinese market. We've also been helpful for a Chinese electric vehicle company that wanted to have more market here. We've helped with a large solar panel manufacturer from China that wanted to open a manufacturing facility here. They haven't yet done that, but they're still looking. We've worked with the University of California system, which has a public-private research institute, and there's a Chinese province that would like to expand that institute into China, and they're looking to invest $90 million to be able to make that happen. We're also working with a UC hospital that would like to, under a contract, potentially expand into the Shanghai area. So there's a lot of activities that are going on. It's across, don't take those examples as the only things that we're doing. It's across industry sectors. And we've been working on hosting delegations, taking delegations over, as mentioned, participating in federal programs like Select USA, and then holding our own separate events. We did a California Day in Shanghai 2 years ago as well. Our experience with GoBiz has been wonderful, and learning experiences as well. They've helped us when we have a company, either a California company or a Chinese company, to reach into some of the agencies. For instance, if it's an agricultural company, the California Department of Food and Agriculture can help out either with introductions or understanding the regulatory framework that's here. They've also been very helpful with site selection. So we are the Bay Area Council. We're obviously not a state group, and we're a nonprofit business association. And so they have a great process where inbound companies can go through a database where they enter what they're looking for, and then the team at GoBiz will help them on a confidential basis to look at various sites across the state where they can participate, and that also has been very helpful. So I will end my comments there and answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Olson, Director of the Northern California Sacramento Regional Center for International Trade. Welcome.
Thank you, Chairman. I would probably better identify this group that I'm with as a community college program, which is, how does that fit? And the community colleges, coincidentally, have always had an economic development mandate, principally through funding from the legislature. And it's that proximity to business community that is so critical to the community colleges, but that our centers that were developed with this funding sort of connect the colleges to the business community and vice versa. And one of these programs is the Center for International Trade Development. It's been in existence since 1989, and it's been through the ups and downs of funding through the Chancellor's office. But as a result, it is taxpayer funded. And there are 10 centers throughout the state located in community colleges that work primarily with the business community and then work primarily through workshops, training, education, working with the workforce and the businesses out there, the small businesses, pretty much 100%, to educate them about the ins and outs of how to do business in foreign markets, international trade, finance, basically technical assistance 101. And through the STEP program that we're working with GoBiz on, we're able to not only help those businesses understand the global marketplace and hopefully become successful, but we take them there. We actually work with GoBiz and their staff to find and identify the businesses who want to take that step. That it's trepidation, absolutely, particularly the small businesses, the minority-owned businesses, the women-owned businesses that are trying to succeed despite problems with financing and despite staff that don't understand how difficult it is to deal with cross-cultural issues or to create a product that works in a certain market. So getting that together with these funds helps those businesses defray their costs, learn about being export ready, how to become, everybody's sort of export willing, but getting a company to being export ready is a challenge, particularly a new to export business, which a lot of our small business, and I call them our global entrepreneurs in California. One of the previous speakers mentioned that independent business owners and entrepreneurs are going to be the trend, and if we don't globally enable those companies to sell online, internet sales, to possibly go to trade shows, to possibly meet with foreign buyers when GoBiz and our international programs host inbound buyer groups, and there's nowhere to go except through GoBiz and us, and the Cal Chamber and our Cal Asian compatriots. They're lost, and they'll go to another state. So I guess I could finish with, I've been appointed by Governor Brown, along with Suzanne and another group of members, to the Governor's International Trade Investment Advisory Council, and it's an advisory board with the Governor's GoBiz office to figure out what are going to be the best practices. How are we going to reduce trade barriers for companies? How are we going to compete? How are we going to provide technical assistance? What can we recommend to the governor to do? And with the legislature's help, hopefully we can do more with what resources we have and keep this economic development program at the Chancellor's office vibrant and effective in tandem with GoBiz.
Thank you very much. I want to open it up for any questions from our committee members at this time. So I'll start to my right and work
I think not so much a question, but well, I guess I have two things, so I can finish. One is with GoBiz, have we been looking at this banner? You said it's a, what did you say? It was trade under one banner. Is that trade just for one country, or is that the whole gamut of all the countries that may want to do business here?
So I believe the comment you're referencing was specific to our comments in regards to how we're shifting the model for the California China Trade Office.
Okay, so it's just the China Trade Office.
Correct. So we have several municipalities and other jurisdictions in California who have a presence in China, and the goal would be to unify as many of those as possible under a single California China Trade Network banner.
So it would be too much to try to have one banner and have different countries under that banner? For example, Brazil, for example, South Africa or Africa nations.
So I think the model that we're looking to shift towards in China could certainly serve as a model as we continue to pursue other trade opportunities and trade office considerations with other countries.
And the one thing that I wanted to say is I met with some businesses from Brazil. They were led by Charles McNeely in San Diego. Want to thank GoBiz for being there. I believe you were there. I'm not sure, but I want to thank GoBiz for being there. I don't know what's come of that, but there were several business persons from Brazil that want to do business here in California, and they've had kind of a rough time trying to get into our state. But thank you.
All right, Assemblymember Chu.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I apologize. I missed part of the presentation. My quick question is that, is there, say, if a foreign investor wants to invest in California, is there a one-stop shop? Would it be GoBiz or?
So our team provides direct business assistance to both California companies looking to export to other countries and to foreign direct investors from other countries looking to establish a presence here in California.
So GoBiz is the one-stop shop for people that want to
certainly
invest.
Several of our partners also provide that service as well, whether at the regional or local level, but we serve as that state point of contact.
All right, great. Thank you.